This morning I felt a really strong inner calling to talk to you about the experience of how we suffer along our path to peace. As I shared in yesterday's video, I've been reading a book called Yoga Revolution this week. And last night before I went to bed, the section I was reading got into the yogic principles of suffering. And oh, buddy, have I suffered. Not that this is a comparison, with others, because I know that other people have had much more difficult challenges in life than I have. It's just a reflection of the way that I related to the pain that I've experienced. And for the first 40 years of my life, I did not do a very good job of it. I think about, kind of periods in my life that were punctuated by unconscious suffering. So how I tried to, control, if it was a conflict between me and somebody else, what was modeled for me growing up was, we either attempt to control the situation or to suppress or bypass it. And as I was reading through Jivana's interpretation of Patanjali's Sutras of Yoga, which I've been studying over the course of the past year, he brought up some points that just hit me like a lightning bolt in terms of, my experience of suffering and how I have the opportunity to shift my experience now. And so that's what I want to share with you today. The first noble truth of Buddhism is that life is suffering. None of us get through this lifetime without an experience of it, but we do get to choose how we respond to those experiences. And that's what I recognize I did not do very well in those first 4 decades. So, I'm going to read some of these interpretations from Jivana because I think they just really hit on, how yoga is a really important and powerful practice to how we navigate our experiences of suffering. So Jivana shares these excerpts from Patanjali and then summarizes it like this. So Patanjali is making a life-altering statement about the value of our suffering. We can transform our pain through the alchemy of yoga. That doesn't mean we use spiritual bypassing to avoid suffering. It means that by experiencing the pain and understanding why we're suffering, we can become wiser and eventually have more peace. So I think back to, some of my recent experiences of suffering, and I just know in this moment that I'm going to come back and do some more videos on this because these are long stories that I think there's some value in unpacking, but the simple principle being, there's those Michael Singer talks about them as samskaras, or those those bodies of energy we collect in ourselves that typically are rooted back when we're kids, and that every new life experience, the energy comes in from life and hits these samskaras that are stuck there, that it gets activated, and then we have 2 choices. Essentially, we can, react, which is what we do most of the time in society, or in what Patanjali's talking about, I think I got the pronunciation better that time, we can be present and conscious to it and allow the experience to be healing and then release that energy. Jivana goes on to say, I think one of the most misunderstood aspects of the yoga path, it is a path through suffering, not around it. Yoga practice begins with a willingness to learn from our pain and suffering, to feel it. And so there's a lot of commentary out there about, how the North American practice of yoga is, kind of a superficial, postures and things like that. That's not the way that I'm choosing to experience my yoga practice. It is by going deep into a study of the 8 limbs of yoga. I still show up and I do my, physical asana practice each week, but it's not limited to that. It's in combination with learning the Yoga Sutras, with studying in community to understand how we bring all of the ethical principles of yoga into life, and that's what we're doing at Wild Heart Yoga this Saturday, and I'm looking to do that with my fellow practitioners there. So I just wanted to introduce this principle of suffering as it was like fresh on my mind, and I feel really lit up and alive by it. It feels like there's a sense of possibility that for myself, I can have a new relationship with my experience of suffering, and use my practice of yoga to transform it. So this for now, wishing you peace, and I look forward to continuing this dialogue on suffering on our path to peace.